Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders of KW Bonsai. Today we're going to be working on my Ficus sister. This is the plainer one, which has a simpler form to it. And when we last left this tree, we repotted it. We did a lot of sorting out of the aerial roots near the base of the tree. And we hadn't touched the top at all as far as styling it. It was just left grow. And it's growing really strongly now. I got a lot of new roots forming in the pot, so it survived the transplanting, repotting really well, and it's growing strongly now. It's getting really late in the summer. It's almost the end of September. I'm keeping a watch on the weather, make sure the temperature doesn't drop too low. The ficus trees can survive right down to the point where they start getting frost. If you get frost on a ficus, it'll kill it. So you don't want to let them freeze at all. So keep an eye on your nighttime temperatures and bring them in if it starts getting too cool out. I'll leave these trees out till it gets kind of to about plus 5 or 6 degrees out, and then I'll start bringing them into the plant room for the winter. So the first thing we're going to work on is some of the roots, and I'll show you what I intend to do. So here's a shot of the root base, and these roots over on this side are kind of bothering me. I like my trees to have the trunk and the roots to flare up from the soil and curve up towards the main trunk. And these roots on this side, they're kind of straight, and it kind of makes the tree look like it's got a triangular base and then it goes straight up into the trunk line, rather than kind of smoothly flowing. So I don't like these roots on this side. We do have some movement to the trunk down here that I think we want to remove these roots and show off that transition from the soil coming up into the trunk line. So I think these roots, they're just too thick. They don't have any movement to them, and it spoils that transition from the soil flowing up to the trunk line. So I'm going to remove them. So here we go. Let's get these removed. I'm just going to cut them off roughly for now. I'm just going to cut it off at the soil level for now too. There's one removed. This one too. And we want to remove these also. So we'll come in here. There we are. And we've got one final one here too. Let's see how that looks. Looks better. We have a nice flow line going up to the trunk of the tree now. And I think this back one could come off too. So let's get rid of this one also. Like so. And let's have a look. Oh, it looks better. All right, let's see if we can clean that cut up now. All these roots and smooth them in a bit better. So that looks better. It has a smoother transition from the soil flowing up into the trunk line. And I'll rotate the tree around. In our last video, we had an aerial root that was curving, and I cut it off short, and I was hoping to get more aerial roots growing from it, and I did. So you can see that. So there's a shot of that aerial root we cut off, and it grew a whole bunch of more roots coming from the cut point, and they've reached the soil nicely. So the second thing I wanted to do was to rake some of the surface soil off. When we repotted this tree, we mounted the soil up quite high to make sure all the roots got into the soil. And so they've done that. The roots have grown. You can see them growing across the surface of the soil here. So we want to rake some of the soil away and then get these roots growing down into our soil level. So let's start by doing some raking. And I guess we'll remove these roots that we cut off, if I can. Wow, look at the growth on that. Wow. Another one. So all these new roots, we want to make sure that they're in the soil when we finish reducing our soil level down. Like this one, we want to make sure it's in the soil. We also want to make sure it's close to the trunk. So we'll dig a hole for it and make sure it gets into the soil here. There we go. And we've got some roots here coming out that we want to get in the soil. Now, we have a large root on this side of the tree, which isn't the most attractive in the world. It comes down and it starts curling around. So we're going to try and fix that also. So what can we do about it? So generally what we can do is we can divide it. You can carve a groove down the center of it, and it'll give the appearance of splitting into two roots, which is probably what we'll do, maybe even three. And what this will do is these roots, as they heal, will round over, and it'll create the appearance of the root dividing into three here. So you want to carve these grooves fairly deep. So that's the start of our first groove, and then our second one will run down this side of the root. So by carving these grooves radial to the base of the trunk, it'll give the appearance of straightening the root out. So I'll keep carving these roots, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the final result. Okay, so I finished the root carving. I'll show you what it looks like. We put quite a major groove down the front here, another one down the side here, or the back. And then I put a small one down this side of the trunk just to break up this bulbous part here. So they should thicken up and start healing over and make, you know, this large fat root look more in scale and more interesting as it heals over. So we'll keep track of that and see what it does over the next couple of years. So the next thing, I've got most of my soil raked out level with the lip of the pot. I'm just going to make sure I get all these roots into the soil, you know, keeping them as close to the trunk as I can. And then we'll start on the top of the tree. Okay, so we're going to start on the top of the tree now. We still want to let the tree grow. We're not after compacting the structure very much. All we want to do is corrective pruning. So anything that we just won't use, we're going to prune off. And all the other growth we're just going to let grow, because this tree is in a growing phase. We want to thicken up our branches, get lots of vigor in the tree. So right here we've got a branch that's just poking straight out at us, and it's coming off the trunk at a very strange angle, so we're just going to remove that totally. So we're coming up the trunk line. We've got a branch that's forward here. It comes up and divides into two again. It's not too bad. We're just looking for growth that's facing inwards. We're going to remove. So we're going up top to look at the tree from above, and we're looking for branches that are growing inward and crossing other trunk lines. So I've got one here that's growing in towards the tree. So we're going to remove this portion of it for now. And I'm looking, the rest of the branch is dead. So I don't really have too much facing outward except for this one. So we'll cut it off to here. So this branch is going outwards now. I've got a major branch here that's crossing in front of this other branch. So I think we're just going to have to prune that part of it off. So we'll go right here. It's growing inwards. We're just going to prune that off. Like so. So this trunk line's coming up. There's nothing growing inwards. This branch can be removed. We've got a branch here that's crossing all the others. That can be removed. That's all looking okay. I got a branch here. It's growing vertically. It's all right, I think, this one. Got a branch here that's vertical. I think that one could be removed. We'll get rid of that one. And we're just looking at the rest of the branch structure, looking for crossing branches. We have one branch here that's crossing. I think we'll take it off shorter. Some directional pruning. Now let's see what's going on over here. Looks okay. Could take this one branch off. It's growing at the base of another branch. We'll take that one off. Like that. A lot of these branches will be shortened eventually, but for now we're just going to leave it long so we can grow the tree. Yeah, so from above, everything's fanning out. And it's looking okay. So we've sorted out the basic structure of the tree again. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to add some clothes pegs to the long branches to get them drooping. It'll you know, do a little rough shaping so everything won't look so upright. So again, we just attach our clothes peg to a leaf tip and it gives some weight to the branch. I've been doing this to the willow tree and it works really well. It gives a nice arching branch. And someone asked me, well, can you do this with other trees? And yeah, you can. Gives a nice weight to the branches. It doesn't replace wiring, but it gives a quick, rough effect of gravity to the branches. So instead of, you know, all your long shoots growing upright, you get a bit of a weight to them. And it gives it a kind of a natural look. And it's really easy to do. It's really quick. If you're to do with wire, it would take a long time. And you might get scarring on your branches. This is just a quick method to get some weight to the branches. And it doesn't seem to hurt the leaves at all. Yeah. So there we go. So that's all the work we'll be doing to this tree for today. So Nigel Saunders of KW Bonsai. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.